What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Wide Body Nation. Unfortunately, we are in the Corvette again on the way to the Chevy dealership because the brakes are definitely warped again. So I'm gonna have Chevy check it out. I would like them to put new pads, new rotors, and do a full brake flush, bleed the brakes, anything and everything they need to do to reset these brakes. Remember, these are the Z51 brakes on here, and the reason I have you guys in the car is because I'm gonna show you how much the steering wheel is vibrating, how much everything in here in the cabin vibrates, because the brakes are so just out of whack. I mean, they put some Bush League brakes on this car. Just unacceptable. So I'll show you guys right now. There was the backpack, just went, but the car just shudders every time the brakes go. And I just went to Texas 2K, which was a solid 1,500 mile round trip. So I had plenty of seat time in this car to test out if braking was smooth at low speed, highway speed, all the speeds. But honestly, I mean, last time I went to the dealership, they're like, oh, hey, have you driven this car super fast? Like, have you tracked it? Have you done it? It's like, no. I have other cars. I mean, we've got the Hellcat, we've got the Grand Sport, we've got the S209. You know, we already had one C8. So it's like, either the brakes with this car personally were not installed correctly, or there was a defect, or what I really think is the case is that all C8 Stingrays, Z51 or not, just have weak brakes. And so when you do drive this car, you know, basically normally as it's intended to, you end up warping the brakes out because they have single piece rotors with relatively small calipers, not a lot of actual contact area for the pads. So I'll let you guys know on the backside, just like I did with the last video, but I wanted to show you guys a couple more times before we actually get it into the dealership, and then I'll let you know what they tell me as well. For this next brake test, I'm gonna switch you guys into touring mode so it quiets the exhaust down a little bit. I want you guys to listen. You can hear the wobbling, the warped rotors when I hit the brakes. So we're going highway speed right now, and then I don't know if it comes across on camera, but the audio is definitely there. So it's kind of hard to see the steering wheel move. It's more of a feeling thing. So I have my phone right here, and it's on a scorch mount. You can see that it bounces every time we go over a big bump. Watch how much it vibrates when we end up slowing down though. Remember, it's on this mount right here. Check out how much the phone vibrates when I hit the brakes. So it is not pleasant. It's definitely not the transmission, because I have the transmission in touring mode right now. It's shifting real chill, and we'll come to a stop up here and you guys can kind of see and hear again. But it just like starts lurching at low speed. But it's definitely not ideal. Now, a bunch of people are like, well, why don't you just put better rotors, better pads, even better calipers on there? And I agree that I could do that, but it's just really frustrating that Chevy put, you know, such poor brakes on here. And remember, this is a Z51 package, so this came with the upgraded brakes. It came with some other upgrades, but this package is supposed to be for the track. I mean, this car will go 0 to 60 in 2.8, 2.9 seconds, 0 to 100 pretty darn quick. I have reliable information from quite a few reputable people I know who went to Chevy's track day with these cars, with the Z51s, and they all were commenting on how bad the brakes were. They were following a Camaro, not the the lead car. The instructor car was some whatever spec Camaro, and that Camaro, their brakes stood up better than the C8 brakes. All the C8s were all Z51 packages, and they ended up fading as well by lap 2, lap 3, which is ridiculous, especially since you're not driving full tilt. So I really do not like the brakes on this car. I much prefer the brakes on my Hellcat. Believe it or not, yeah, you see, you can just, nope. So believe it or not, you can get a SCAT pack charger for, I don't know, 40K that comes with 6 piston Brembos, 2-piece rotors up front. I mean, just every other brand seems to have the braking thing figured out. And heck, Chevy has the brake thing figured out too. My Grand Sports brakes are great, but this car, super disappointing. So we're about to roll into the dealership. I'm gonna let them know what's going on. Let them know that from last time we have put, since they worked on the brakes last time, it's been about double the mileage. So last time we took the car in at about 2,600 miles. This time we are at 5,200 miles. So I guess it's par for the course at this point. So we're gonna head in, dealership's right there. We will see what is up and what they can do for us. We're also gonna go ahead and get the 7,000 mile service done, where they basically inspect everything on the car, all the fluids, all the lines, basically everything. There's even little weird stuff on this car. The front shock tower braces like to collect water. They're right up here and right up here. I had checked them right around 3,000 miles. I pulled up the plastic under the frunk, and they were doing all right, surprisingly, because everything else was getting so messed up. But we're about to head in. I'll let you guys know. All right, guys, so we're done at the dealership. The C8 is back, and it is not fixed. Now, as many of you know from previous videos and just from car knowledge in general, brakes are 9 times out of 10 considered a wear and tear item. So when I bring this car in saying the brakes are messed up, the dealerships and the manufacturer are very inclined to just brush me off and say, hey, user error, I don't care, wear and tear item, just like windshield wipers, just like tires, just like all the little nicks and knacks that you as a customer, you know, bear the brunt of for your maintenance and for your upkeep. Now, what happened to this car? Well, as I suspected, as we suspected, the rotors are warped again, but this time, recommendation from the dealership was to replace the pads and the rotors, and I would guess also bleed the brakes, just kind of by nature of they're already doing it, so they might as well do it, right? That's a full reset, and in my mind, scientifically, not just because I want my car to be right, but scientifically, if they put all new rotors, all new pads, and bleed the brakes, and bed them in from the dealership, then Chevy will be able to actually say, okay, hey, we made this thing right, we restored it to as new, and if it's messed up from here, then that's on you, customer, which I would probably be willing to go with. Now, are they doing that? Well, no, not really. And here's where the lesson really comes for you guys as well. Don't take no for an answer. Don't get railroaded. Don't get forced to pay 5, 6, 7 grand to replace something on a car that only has 5,226 miles on it. That's BS. So I called Chevy corporate just like I did last time. And because this is the second time this has happened to the Corvette, they escalated to a senior advisor who actually I just got a call from, and they are looking into it pretty much in ideally the most logical way possible. They're gonna go ahead and contact the dealership, corroborate all of the findings and this whole story. I took some of the time of the advisor to explain to him the entirety of the situation here. And yeah, basically, I mean, you can kind of, I don't know, I feel like you guys could feel the pulsing through the camera. I mean, it is, I was trying to explain it to my friend, and I was saying, you know, if you're not a car person, you might not notice it, but if you're a car person, you'll definitely notice it. High speed, low speed, all speeds. So, where are we at right now? I have the car back from the dealership. Nothing happened. It didn't get serviced, no oil change, no, there's a recall on it, which I'll do another video on, but basically nothing happened other than we confirmed that the rotors are warped and that we should be looking to get new pads and new rotors. Remember, this is a Z51 package, folks. So in theory, this car should be more equipped to handle any type of braking conditions, let alone just basically normal driving of this Corvette, because I have other cars. If I want to drive fast, I'll probably use other cars, right? But I guess we are going to go ahead and really wrap the video up here. There is plenty more to come on this. It's just probably going to take a few days. The Army has made me very good at being okay with things taking much longer than we might like. It's made me very chill. Hey, just make a phone call today, let it marinate. you know, get a phone call back, a couple more days, okay, they're looking into it. So if you guys are okay with that, then there's definitely money on the table for you with this customer service, calling corporate, escalating it to the next level. And stay tuned for how we remedy this, you know, this C8, because, you know, I was at Texas 2K this past weekend. Everybody was asking me about the C8. Oh, what do you like? What do you don't like? And, you know, it's interesting because with the C8, with all these other hyped cars, there's a lot of really negative people who criticize, like, mainly looks, right? Looks or cost. But I like to have little critiques to tell people that no one's really heard of before, or maybe it's just very nuanced. It shows that you're driving the car, shows that you're really experiencing the car. And I was telling people, you know, hey, at least in my experience, I have not had a good time with the brakes on this vehicle. You know, they were warped way out of spec, hundreds of percent out of spec within the first 2,500 miles or so. This car has seen the dealer 3, 4, 5 times now, so it's not like it's not being maintained, not like it's not getting a dealer's eye, mechanic's eye from the Chevy side. So really looking forward to getting this rectified. We're actually going to drop the C8 off to get wrapped, and the Charger, we are picking it up. So stay tuned for the next video for us picking up the Charger. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I will see you for the next video.